On today's episode, we're going to be talking about where can you learn to do the stuff that I know how to do. All right, so today's question comes from Mark, and it's really an interesting question to me because Mark asks, Bill, where did you learn how to do all of this stuff? How did you learn the marketing and the sales part? How did you learn how to grow your businesses? And he wasn't referring specifically just to the limousine industry. So Mark, I think that's a fantastic question. I can tell you where I didn't learn it to start with. I didn't learn it in high school and college. What I kind of learned a lot by my own experiences. Remember, if you know my history, I started my first company when I was 17. I'm 42 today. I've done 23 startups. I've had quite a few failures in there, as most people that are, as crazy as I am to do that high a volume of startup businesses, but I've had plenty of successes as well. And I think number one is learning from my failures, which means you have to take risk. The people that I see that kind of stay stagnant, specifically in the limousine industry, there's so many companies that are 2 cars, 5 cars, 6 cars that are doing $200,000 in revenue to $500,000 to $600,000. Literally, that makes up 95% of our industry. It's because one, either you don't have the skill sets to be able to grow. 2, you don't work hard enough. You don't hustle. You're not working 15, 18 hours a day. And if you are, you're driving and focusing on the wrong parts of your business to be able to help it grow. Or 3 is, because I think a lot of people work hard, but 3 is continuing to educate yourself. And that's probably, I think, one of the biggest separators for me. Sure, I've worked my ass off. I hustle in every one of our businesses. I'm a workaholic. I do go 12, 14, 15, 18 hours a day. When I started my limousine company in May of 2006, I didn't take one day of vacation time. I missed work when I was sick, and that was it. For about the first 4 years that I was in the business. But the single most important thing for me in my businesses, in my life, is continuing education. And this thirst for knowledge, this continuing to learn. And when I launched the Ask Limo U Show, one of the first statements that I made in there is, I feel like I stand on the shoulders of giants. And that's a very, very true statement. I mean, I have learned from the best. I have sought out mentors in every single business that I've ever done, whether they're business partners of mine or I've sought them out for their influence. And the first thing that I ask them is, where have you failed? And that doesn't really make me OCD, but I believe in you have to focus on the failures and you have to focus on the negative aspects to turn those into positives and turn those failures into successes. So I want to know where successful people have failed so I don't make those same mistakes. In the limousine industry, I think you have to be at the chauffeur driven and the LCT shows. You have to meet the icons in our industry and ask them, how did they become successful? What did you fail at? And learn from them. And I'll tell you, I think one of the best resources, and obviously I'm biased, is Limousine University, because I'm sharing all of the trials and tribulations with you and getting into our private groups. So the last part is really a peer group. Not a peer group that's focused on affiliate building or, baking cookies or, doing these fun things, but a peer group that is really, really focused on the financials, the growth, the exit strategies, the accountability that you need. Because look, we're all entrepreneurs here. I have nobody to hold me accountable in this business except for my wife. I don't have a business partner. I'm not an employee. I don't have a boss to be able to answer to. And a lot of times we feel like we're out on Exile Island and Survivor by ourselves. So I believe in finding those groups. I've been in peer groups or mastermind groups, whatever you want to call them, success groups, for over 20 years. And as soon as I get done shooting this video in a couple of hours, I've got to go to mine. It is not in the limousine industry. I have a real estate guy in there that does millions of dollars in real estate. I have an e-commerce company. I have a manufacturing company. I have a pharmaceutical development company inside of mine. And all of these companies are bigger than this company, meaning Limo University and Inbound Marketing Agents. So I lean on them. But the cool thing is I'm able to give them a lot as well because we're all in different industries. So you don't have to just be in a peer group in the limousine industry. You can learn a lot. And I probably learned more from my mentor, John, who owns a manufacturing / e-commerce company, which has nothing to do with marketing and sales and what we do here. But you know what? Business is the same. And everything should be tied to your financials, and you should be making financial decisions. So number one is continue to grow and educate yourself, whether it's online, whether it's through Limo University, whether it's for peer groups like Arthur Messina has at Going Global and that type of stuff, whether it's through going to the shows, whether it's through creating your own group of like-minded people that share your objectives. And that's the most important thing. You set your goals, then you have to figure out how you're going to obtain them. We all have really bad skill sets, and I'll share something with you that I've never shared before. I used to be a financially weak entrepreneur, meaning I was not financially driven. I was driven for growth, I was driven for sales, and I see a lot of people in the limousine industry that are looking for top-line revenue. But you hear me preach profit, 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 profit. That's the only thing that I give two craps about, is profit. Forget about top-line revenue. Don't give too big a discounts. Make sure you know your margins and focus on profit. I had to learn that. I learned it about 15 years ago. I was already halfway through my entrepreneurial adult life until I learned that. Now I only focus on profit, and I turn down more potential customers than I accept if the profit is not going to be there. So what I would say is seek out the shows, seek out the mentors, seek out a peer group, look at Limo University, look at what your weaknesses are, look at Arthur's groups, look at our groups, figure out what's best for you, but continue to invest in your education and learning. But before you do that, identify what your biggest weakness is. I've taken my weakness, which was being a financially driven entrepreneur, and turned it into a strength over the last 15 years, and it's made me a better business person. If you want any follow-up questions, please feel free to email me, bill@limogrowth.com. I look forward to seeing you guys very, very soon.